The city hums outside my window, but in here, everything is still. My neighbor lives one floor above. He walks right by, so close, yet somehow so far away. His steps are always calm, his voice a mystery, but in my heart, he's always been there. Through my window, I watch him pass, the morning light dancing on the glass, and every day, I whisper softly, maybe today. Maybe he'll stop and finally say something, but there's never a glance, no smile, no sign that he even sees me. Just a small word, hi, that I can never seem to say out loud. It hangs in the air between us. I'm not asking for a grand love story or impossible dreams, just one small word to warm the cold silence. Every night, it's the same old scene. He passes by, lost in his own world. I imagine his voice, gentle and clear, saying good evening. But it's only a dream. Time went heavy and slow. Days folded into nights, and silence grew roots in the corners of my room. I told myself I wasn't waiting, but every time I looked out my window, my eyes would drift to his. And then one day, he was gone. Still, I kept looking. Then, a few weeks later, I opened my mailbox. Inside was a small, plain box. No name, no address. Just mine. I thought it was a mistake, but I took it inside. When I opened it, a mobile phone lay inside, glowing softly. There was only one video on it. With a trembling hand, I pressed play. It was him, his voice, for the first time. I know you didn't expect this, he said. I've always known you were there, how you'd smile when we passed, how you said nothing. I've been relocated, far away. I didn't know when or how, and I didn't want to hurt you by disappearing without a word, so I waited until everything was settled. I'll ask you now, would you like to join me? Not as a neighbor, of course, the choice is yours. The screen faded to black. I sat there, holding the phone, a single tear falling not of sadness, but of pure relief. I walked to the window. Outside, the city glowed brighter than ever before. The air felt light again. For the first time, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt like a beginning. I looked down at the phone, smiled, and whispered my answer. Yes. Yes. Two young men were strolling down a quiet street at sunset, the sky painted in gold and pink. As they laughed about their uneventful week, one of them spotted something by a mailbox, a small, worn leather bag. Curiosity got the better of them. They picked it up and opened it. Inside, they found bundles of cash, neatly wrapped. No ID, no name, not a single clue about who it belonged to. One of them whispered, "What should we do?" The other, with a mix of nerves and excitement, replied, "Maybe, let's have an extraordinary day for once." With their hearts pounding, their adventure began. First stop, a little corner kiosk. They bought 2 sodas, feeling like kids again. "What's the date today?" "1, ask it." "The 5th, his friend answered. With a playful grin, he said, "Then 5 it is," and bought 5 lottery tickets, all ending with the number 5. "Maybe today's our lucky day," he added. From there, they dove into the city. They tried on sharp, tailored suits, feeling a new sense of confidence. They rented a gleaming limousine and drove straight to a 5-star restaurant with a river view. They ordered the best dishes on the menu: truffle pasta and seafood, toasting with sparkling cider. They spoke of dreams they usually kept hidden. After dinner, they found themselves in a cozy cafe where a jazz band played softly. For the first time, their possibilities felt as endless as the night. Later, under a street lamp, they checked the lottery tickets. Silence. And then, pure disbelief. One ticket had hit the biggest jackpot ever. They stared at each other, completely stunned. Then, one of them said softly, "It all started with that wallet." The next morning, their excitement turned into a sense of duty. They placed an ad in the local paper. "Lost wallet found, please. Describe it and its contents." An elderly man soon responded. His hands trembled as he described the bag and the money. every detail perfect. They returned his cash, along with a generous bonus. They even left a surprise envelope for the kiosk owner, who sold them the winning ticket. With their newfound fortune, they didn't just spend it. They built a private jet company and a 5-star hotel right by the marina. From its rooftop restaurants, the ocean sparkled endlessly. Family, friends, and even strangers were always welcome, because they learned a valuable lesson. Luck that's shared is joy that's multiplied. Have you ever wondered what it truly takes to become famous? Is it talent, skill, or something else entirely? Let me tell you a story about a painter whose art was the very definition of beauty. Once upon a time, there was a painter whose every brushstroke created a masterpiece. His canvases were rich in color, perfectly balanced in design, and framed with impeccable taste. He poured his heart and his savings into one art exhibition after another. People would stop, gaze in awe, and shower his work with praise. "It's breathtaking," they'd say, "truly beautiful." But no one ever bought a single piece. Days melted into months, and months stretched into years. Every show ended the same way, with a chorus of compliments, an empty wallet, and a quiet disappointment that grew heavier with each passing day. He was a master of beauty, yet a failure in the art market. Then, one afternoon, everything changed. A renowned art critic, a man whose opinion could make or break a career, paused in front of his paintings. He studied them for a long time. The delicate brushwork, the harmony of colors, the dance of light and shadow. The painter, his heart pounding, approached him. "Please," he said, "tell me the truth. What do you think of my art?" The critic turned with a soft smile. "Your paintings," he began, "are beautiful beyond words. But beauty, my friend, is not the road to fame." The painter was stunned. "Then what is?" he asked. The critic leaned in. "Paint the strange," he whispered. "Paint the impossible. Create something that makes no sense, that follows no rules, that defies explanation. Then, critics like me will argue about it. We'll attack it. We'll praise it. We'll write endless articles trying to figure it out. People will talk, and talk brings fame. Curiosity brings collectors, and collectors, my friend, bring fortune." The painter listened, and a new idea took root. He went back to his studio and began to paint like never before. Threw wild, chaotic shapes onto the canvas. He used colors that clashed, creating a jarring, unsettling effect. He gave his paintings mysterious, nonsensical names. He traded beauty for confusion. And just as the critic predicted, the world took notice. Galleries clamored to exhibit his new, bizarre work. Buyers paid astronomical prices. He was invited to prestigious art fairs and offered lucrative teaching positions at top universities. The very same artist who could unsell a single beautiful painting became a global sensation by creating art that no one understood. He became rich, respected, and famous beyond his wildest dreams. Yet sometimes, late at night in his studio, he would look at one of his old, beautiful paintings, hidden away from the world, and a knowing smile would cross his face. He had learned a powerful secret. Fame didn't come from creating beauty, but from creating a conversation. What do you think? Is this how fame works in other fields too? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. On the edge of a bustling city, a young boy lived a life most people hurried past. He had no family, no warm bed to crawl into at night. All he owned was a small backpack and a quiet, hidden dream. His days were a constant hustle. He'd collect empty bottles, turning them in for just a few pennies. He'd gather leftover flowers from wedding halls, hoping to sell them for a small profit. Every evening, he stood outside a smoky jazz cafe, not just to sell his flowers to passing lovers, but to listen. The music that spilled out onto the street was his only comfort, the only thing that made him feel connected to a world that seemed to ignore him. One night, while searching for anything useful behind an abandoned shop, he found it. Tucked away in a dusty trash bin was a broken guitar. It was cracked, covered in grime, and only had 2 strings left. But to this boy, it wasn't trash. It was a lifeline. It was hope. He sat down under the dim glow of a street lamp, his small fingers nervously finding the strings. He plucked the first note. It wasn't perfect, not by a long shot, but it was real. It was honest. And honest music has a power all its own. Day after day, he returned to his spot, practicing, plucking, tapping, experimenting. Those 2 strings began to sing, weaving melodies that told his story. He started to hum along, his voice filled with a raw emotion that words couldn't express. And then, something amazing happened. People started to notice. They'd slow their hurried pace to listen. One day, a little girl left her half-eaten cupcake beside him. An old man gently draped his own scarf over the boy's shoulders to shield him from the cold. A woman stood silently, tears streaming down her face, moved by the purity of his sound. One evening, a teenager, captivated by the music, pulled out their phone and recorded a short, 20-second clip. They posted it online with a simple title. He plays with 2 strings, but sounds like an orchestra. The video exploded. It went viral overnight. Millions watched. Thousands shared. The world was finally listening. The very next morning, as the boy played his usual spot, a man in a long coat approached him. He held a sleek guitar case. "Is this you?" he asked, showing the boy the viral video on his phone. The boy nodded, his heart pounding. "I'm a music producer," the man said with a warm smile. "I flew here just to find you." He opened the case. Inside was a brand new 6-string acoustic guitar, gleaming under the morning sun. "You don't need 6 strings," the producer said gently. "Your heart already knows how to make music. But now, you don't have to do it alone anymore." From that day forward, the boy with 2 rusty strings played on real stages. His lifestyle changed all of a sudden. No more sleeping on the street. 5-star hotels become his new homes, dining at fancy restaurants, driving around in limousines, traveling long journeys on private jets, planes, enjoying the view of the world from a different spot. Played his joyful music, pleasing his fans, but behind the scenes, his love for his 2-stringed guitar remained, playing tender melodies for it. His journey is a reminder that sometimes the most incredible talent grows in the places no one ever thinks to look. Thanks for watching. In a bustling town, a wealthy man opened a luxurious restaurant. He spared no expense. The location was prime, the decor was stunning, the kitchen was state-of-the-art. He hired top chefs and elegant waiters, and ran ads in glossy magazines. But despite all this perfection, the restaurant remained stubbornly empty. The profits couldn't even cover the bills. One afternoon, as the owner stepped out of his car, a homeless man approached him, asking for a little change to buy food. The wealthy man paused, then smiled kindly. "Come inside," he said. "I'll get you a warm meal." They sat together at a table. After the man had finished eating, the owner asked, "You seemed like someone who has seen better days. What's your story?" The man sighed. "I used to be a stockbroker. I had a home, a car, a future. Then the market crashed, and I lost everything. Now, I'm lucky if I get 1 meal a day." The owner nodded with genuine sympathy. "That's a tough break. Please, know you're welcome here anytime. My staff will always take care of you." The homeless man smiled, then glanced around the empty dining room. "Business isn't going too well, is it?" The owner chuckled grimly. "As you can see, everything's perfect, but the customers just aren't coming." The man leaned forward slightly. "Would you be open to some advice?" The owner, intrigued, replied, "Of course, I'm all ears." "Not every location brings luck," the man began. "There's too much competition here. You need to change your location and your strategy." "You mean I should close down?" the owner asked, disappointed. Not exactly. Move to a smaller town where you're the main event and open to restaurants at once. One for the middle class, with great food and a takeaway service. The other for the wealthy exclusive, with valet parking and prices that make it a status symbol. The rich love places that feel out of reach for others. He smiled. You'll be the king of that town. But here's the key. Don't tell anyone you own both, publicly. You only run the modest one. The middle class will champion you, their local hero. Against your fancy competitor, you'll win on both fronts. The wealthy man Ace eyes lead up. It was a brilliant idea. He followed the advice to the letter. Soon, in a nearby small town, his 2 new restaurants became legendary. Business was booming, and what of the homeless man? He was no longer on the streets. He now had his own office in one of the restaurants, managing the accounts and business affairs. It goes to show that sometimes the greatest fortune isn't exchanged for money, but for a simple act of kindness. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. For the first 10 weeks of his life, Cale's entire world was a circle of sticks, 12 feet wide, perched 80 feet high in a giant cottonwood tree. Below this massive nest, a swift, silver river flowed. Cale was the second to hatch, smaller and weaker than his sibling. Survival was a constant battle, a lesson taught through sharp beaks and frantic hunger. His parents, 2 magnificent eagles with sharp yellow eyes and snowy white crowns, were his providers, delivering fresh trout and torn meat. Cale watched them, mesmerized by the effortless power of their huge wings. One spring morning, his brown feathers thick and his wingspan nearly full-grown, Cale felt an insistent nudge from his parents. His time in the nest was over. He hopped to the edge, the river a dizzying blur below. Fear warred with a deep, primal need to leap. He beat his wings clumsy, heavy, untested and tumbled into the void. The fall was a frantic struggle, a spiral of panic. Then, something clicked. His wings caught the air. It was flying. It was wavily uncontrolled, and absolutely glorious. He had fledged. The next 4 years were a lesson in solitude. As a juvenile with dark brown plumage, Cale was a wanderer, an outsider. He flew hundreds of miles, surviving on carrion and fish he snatched from the shallows. The world was a place of constant hunger and danger. He learned the harsh truth. Most young eagles don't survive these wandering years. He faced blizzards that ripped feathers from his wings and the constant, draining need to hunt. He was a nomad, a shadow in the sky, but this hardship forged him. His muscles hardened, his vision sharpened. He learned to conserve energy, riding invisible currents of warm air, using the earth's own breath to carry him across entire mountain ranges. The solitude was absolute, but it created the independence he would need to one day rule. On his 5th summer, Cale returned to the great river valley, but he was not the same bird who had left. A transformation had occurred. The dark feathers on his head and tail had molted, replaced by the brilliant white of maturity. He was an adult. Was a king. He established his territory on a granite bluff, overlooking a vast, protected lake. And there, he found Lyra. Their courtship was a breathtaking aerial dance. They soared miles high, locked talons, and tumbled toward the earth in a spinning spiral, breaking apart just feet from the rocks below. They mated for life. Together, they repaired an immense, decade-old nest atop the bluff, weaving in new sticks, grass, and down. This area was their fortress, their legacy. From this commanding height, Cale performed his final rite of passage. The perfect hunt. He spotted the silver flash of a salmon deep in the cold water. He dropped from the sky like a stone, wings tucked tight, the wind whistling around his talons. The impact was precise, the grip immediate. He rose, the powerful fish struggling in his hold, his fierce yellow eyes fixed on the horizon. Cale brought the salmon back to the newly lined nest. He looked at Lyra, who returned a steady gaze. The cycle was complete. Soon, the nest would hold 2 white eggs, and Cale would begin his long, behelant reign. passing the ancient lessons of the sky to the next generation. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If you were as moved by Kale's story as we were, please hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing tales from the wild. We'll see you in the next one. There I was, sitting in my car by the beautiful Cornish shore, about to tuck into a sandwich I'd just bought from the local shop. The sound of the waves, the salty air, it was perfect. Suddenly, a soft tap on my window made me jump. I turned, and there was a young boy, maybe 10 or 11, with these huge, hopeful eyes, just staring at me. He spoke so quietly I almost didn't hear him. "I'm hungry," he said. "No money, no dad." His clothes were worn, and he looked like he'd been carrying the world on his small shoulders. My first instinct was to reach for my wallet, to pull out a few coins, but he just shook his head. "No money," he whispered again, his eyes fixed on my lunch. "Your sandwich." Instead, without a second thought, I handed it over. He took it with such grace, a small, grateful smile spreading across his face. It was a simple moment, but it felt significant. He held that sandwich like it was a treasure, a little bit of hope in his hand. Years went by, and honestly, I forgot all about that day by the sea. Life has a way of doing that. My own fortunes took a downturn. My trusty old car, the same one from that day, finally gave up on me. Breaking down on a lonely road, I had no money for the repairs, and as I walked home in the pouring rain, feeling the weight of it all, life just felt incredibly heavy and unfair. Then, one evening, there was a knock on my front door. It was a firm, confident knock. I opened it to find a well-dressed young man standing there, radiating success and warmth. He was holding a set of brand-new car keys, so shiny they practically gleamed under the porch light. "I'm in the car trade now," he said with a wide, familiar smile. Things turned out right. It took me a moment, but then I saw the same hopeful eyes from all those years ago. "You gave me a sandwich when I had nothing," he continued. "That single act of kindness. It wasn't the end of my struggle, but it was the beginning of my comeback." He held out the keys. "This car is for you," he said. "Please, take it. It's a gift. I thank you." I was speechless, completely overwhelmed. As he turned to leave, he paused and looked back with that same gentle smile. "Would you ... maybe give one more sandwich? It just goes to show, you never know how far the smallest act of kindness will travel. Sometimes, it drives right back to your front door when you need it most." Thanks for watching. If this story touched you, please consider liking and subscribing for more. See you next time. Once upon a time, in a cozy little cottage nestled by the woods, a tiny yellow canary hatched from its egg. As it opened its eyes for the very first time, it saw a bright, beautiful world. But this world, as lovely as it was all inside a cage. The people who lived in the cottage were kind. They lovingly fed the little bird, spoke to it in soft, gentle voices, and even let it fly freely around the warm rooms of the house. It was a comfortable life, but the windows were always closed. Outside, a deep winter had covered everything in a blanket of glistening snow. The trees stood bare against the pale sky, and the wind sang its cold, lonely songs. The canary would often perch by the window, gazing out at the white garden, its tiny heart filled with wonder about the world beyond the glass. It knew comfort, but it yearned for something more. Time passed, and the seasons turned. One glorious morning, golden sunshine streamed into the cottage, warming everything it touched. The snow had melted away, revealing a world bursting with color. Pink and yellow flowers bloomed in the garden, and soft green leaves danced playfully in the gentle breeze. The canary tilted its head, listening. It could hear something new, something wonderful coming from outside. Tweet, tweet. It was the sound of other birds, singing their joyful songs, free and happy in the vast, open air. The little canary watched them soar and dive, listened to their melodies, and began to dream. What would it feel like to fly that high? To feel the real wind beneath its wings instead of just the gentle drafts? Inside the house, then, one fateful day, a window was accidentally left open. The little bird fluttered over and landed on the edge, its heart pounding. The sky looked so big, so bright, and just a little bit scary. It hesitated, unsure of what to do. But just then from the garden below came a sweet, inviting sound, a soft, friendly tweet from a female canary. Something warm and courageous fluttered inside the little bird's chest. It took a deep breath, spread its wings wide, and took a leap of faith into the open air. For the very first time, it felt the real wind lifted up, carrying it higher and higher into the brilliant blue sky. It found the other bird waiting, and together, they sang and flew over the vibrant garden. They built a nest among the blooming trees, creating a home that was safe, happy, and truly free. And in that moment, our little canary finally understood that the world beyond the window wasn't just a dream. It was the place where dreams truly take flight. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like and subscribe for more tales that warm the soul.